Would you look at that? This old boy's got a mind of its own. Starts to glow like that when there's a tale itching to be told. Ostara, it whispers. An old Germanic festival our clan recognizes of fire, fey, and springtime mischief. So settle in, friends, 'cause tonight's tale is one both sweet and fierce. Spring is celebrated far and wide, all across our great wide world. The Persians, they speak of Nowruz, lighting fires to chase away the shadows in the last chill of winter. The Romans, they danced in the bright parades of Kybella, while the Maya watched the stone serpent weave its shadow through sunlight down the stone steps of the temple. Each and every culture had a different song, but all of it heralded the coming of spring. There was an Anglo-Saxon monk named Bede, the Venerable Bede, who wrote of Eostre, who lent her name then to the month of April that we know now, called Eostre, and the spring festivals and feasts were said to be dedicated to her name in Celtic culture. And scholars have debated her existence endlessly, and there has been more recent discoveries to suggest whether or not she was really worshipped and had any sort of standing. But our clan, here in the tavern, we've never needed parchment to tell us when the spring arrived. You can feel it in your bones, the thawing of the earth, the warming of the wind, the quickening of the air. That is Ostara. Now, when Ostara comes, so come the Aos Sí, the fairies, the mischievous fae, the ones who love nothing more than stirring up trouble. They'll curdle milk, steal spoons, and whisper nightmares into the ears of sleeping babes. And worst of all, some say, Cernunnos, the horned lord of the wilds, the one who stalks the forest edge, trading children for his hollowed-eyed changelings. But fret not, we're not helpless during Ostara, no! We fight back with our own wee ones. The little ones, they will craft masks out of bark and grass, dyed with various berry dyes. Now, we still do it the old traditional way, but if you'd like to take up the tradition, you can do it however you like. But we'll paint fierce faces of goblins and trolls, wild things with teeth sharp as winter's bite. And at dusk these small masked figures parade from door to door, singing old fey tunes that'll give you the goosebumps. And then we as the adults, we open our doors, we bow respectfully, and we offer them sweets. Traditionally, this was done with fruit dripping in honey and spice. And why? You see, it fools the fae. It makes them believe that malicious and rambunctious spirits have already taken over their dwelling. So they move on, not wanting to fight for the real estate. Keeps them from leaving curses and stealing your spoons. And you may be thinking to yourself, Castle, that sounds suspiciously like trick-or-treating. And you would be correct, traveller. It does sound suspiciously like trick-or-treating, and it is in fact one of the many origin traditions of the trick-or-treating that we do today during Hallows Eve. And there are a great many folk who still practice this day. As a matter of fact, many ages ago, uncle of mine, he slept through the spring procession. Woke up the next day, all the food in his fridge had all gone green. Now, could have been because he skipped the procession, could have been he fell asleep knackered with the fridge door open. Either way, he didn't miss another spring procession after that. And then, after our masked vigilantes have ensured that every dwelling is protected, then comes the bonfire, friends. Great piles of oak and ash set alight at twilight. Sparks leap into the sky like little fire fae. And we gather round and we stomp and we spin to the songs of old, one of the more traditional ones being the Wren's Reel, a dance in honor of Eostre's clever little bird. We dance until we're dizzy and we drive the winter's chill away. A great many ages ago, when I was just a boy, one of my uncles, Danny, danced and spun until he nearly fell into the fire, seared half of his beard right off. He took it like a champ, said that the fire needed an offering, and afterwards the garlands go up, fresh ivy and blossoms decorating doors, and you may think to yourself, that sounds suspiciously familiar as well. And it is indeed one of the many holidays from around the world that practices the hanging of wreaths. Nowadays, really is only done in the Western world during Christmas or Yuletide. And after all that is done, the tables become heavy laden with roast vegetables and meat and the first mead of spring. And we wouldn't dare forget the honeyed breads. My grandmother always said, if you go hungry during Ostara, you've got no one to blame but yourself. Now during Ostara, there are some who walk a quieter path than my clan does. You have modern druids and Wiccans who have picked up the wheel of the year which was popularized in the 1970s. And they tend to practice Ostara as a day of balance, decorating altars with daffodils and other spring flowers, greeting the sunrise with whispered chants, and dyeing eggs the color of spring flowers. Now you may have heard me say popularized in the 1970s. The reality is that the name Ostara did not exist as the name for the festival until about the last 150 years or so. We had some mention of it by Jacob Grimm back in the day, but it wasn't popularized until the Wheel of the Year, when many of these holidays, like Litha and Mabon and so on, were coined and popularized by an individual named Aidan Kelly. And that celebration, as I said, was popularized, and it's somewhat softer than what we do. There's no roaring fires and significantly fewer goblin masks. But beneath it all, the heartbeat is the same. Winter giving way and life renewed. This old bowl, it's a part of the tavern's magic. When Ostara approaches, it glows softly, pulsing in time with the turning of the season, the heartbeat of spring. We keep it filled with sweet honey and sugar-coated fruits, for any fae that might wander too close, drawn in by the warmth of the tavern and the many stories and the magic that live here. Take a bite. It's safe enough. Just make sure you leave enough for if any goblin-masked children come knocking at the door later on. Under the laughter, the sweets, and the revelry, Ostara holds a more profound truth. No matter how fierce the winter is, traveler, spring always returns. And no matter what you struggle through, you will always have life in you. For if you have lived through it, you are strong enough to live through it again. The muddy earth, the melting stone, and last year's leaves, they all feed new life. Messy, beautiful life. And life itself is like this, cycles upon cycles upon cycles. Ostara teaches us not to fear this chaos, but to welcome it, to dance with it, to live in harmony with it, even before she had a name. All those hundreds of years ago, Easter, Ostara, Eostre, Pashka, they all speak of the same thing, renewal, new life. And for us here in the tavern, a little bit of mischief, it keeps our hearts wild. And that ain't no bad thing, traveler. So during your next equinox, remember the dancing feet, the silly masks, and the sweet treats. Remember to greet the season boldly, because if you don't, Cernunnos might end up on your doorstep, trading you something you may not want. So, here's to Ostara, my friends, to roaring fires, to sweet revels, and to the courage it takes to greet the season head on. And a traditional toast before you go. May your fires burn bright, and may your doors remain fey-free, and may your heart forever be open to life's endless turning. Stay bloodthirsty, my friends. I'll see you for the next one. Sláinte.